All right, it's 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. My name, first of all, let me welcome the Deputy Registrar, Ms. Keisha Walker, and other members of the registry team, specifically the Scholarship Coordinator, who you'll hear from today, Georgia Wilson, Kishana Bell, the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Mst Vet Scholar, and later on, we will also have Daniel White, who is a Grace Kennedy Scholar. And good evening and special welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of the CMU Success Series. I am your moderator today, and my name is Archibald Gordon, and today we're hearing about, this is specifically the Scholarships and Grants edition. So, in what seems like it was a lifetime ago, in 2006, I came across a scholarship opportunity provided by Public Media Alliance. That's the new name of what used to be called the Commonwealth Broadcasting Association. I was working at the time at TVJ, and I wanted to pursue a Master of the Arts in Media Management, and that turned out to be what the scholarship was about. But I saw the opportunity, I looked, and I thought, why me? I'm definitely not gonna get that at all. They're not gonna pick me. And I told myself that I wouldn't get the scholarship, so I didn't apply. And then a couple of weeks later, they extended the deadline for applications to the scholarship program. And I said the same thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna get that. I'm not gonna get a scholarship application. Tons of people are going to apply. Why are they going to pick me? And a friend of mine convinced me that, well, they've extended the deadline, so why not you? Clearly, they are not getting any applications, which means, just like me, a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing. Why me? No, I took up the opportunity and got a call from overseas, and in about the space of 5 minutes from feeling that I wasn't going to get a scholarship, I turned out to get the opportunity of a lifetime to actually do a master's in media management at University of Westminster in London, and the rest, as they say, is history. So that's part of the reason that we've decided to hold this seminar, because I know very often we convince ourselves that, it won't be us. Why would anyone pick us? But why not? As a lot of line says, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. So today, we're going to tell you how to get in the race. How can you, what are some of the opportunities that are out there, and how can you seize those opportunities, and what are the lessons you can also learn from some of the people who've actually done it. So we're especially pleased not just to have the registry team that's presenting today, but also to have Kishana Bell and Daniel White to share their own experience as students. And after those presentations, first from Ms. Wilson, Kishana and Daniel, we will open the floor for questions. Ask any question that you want to ask. Last year, for instance, there are about 100 scholarships provided by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in the MST Vet program. And you had tons of scholarships that were not taken up by students. Students did not apply for them. We want to take up all of those scholarships, not just on that program, but on the other programs which are available, because the opportunity is out there to use up the money. So let's use it up. Let's keep some money in our own pockets and use up the opportunities that are there. And so without further ado, I am going to hand over to Ms. Wilson. And after her presentation, we'll hear from Kishana Bell, Daniel White, and we'll open the floor for questions. And we do hope that you will ask as many questions as you like, because this is why we're here today. Ms. Wilson, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Archie. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our Deputy Registrar, Ms. Keisha Walker. We welcome all of you to the first Success Series Scholarship webinar. And I will just follow up with what, before I follow up, let me just introduce myself briefly. The name is Georgia Wilson. I serve in 2 capacities, but I'm serving you this evening as Scholarship Coordinator, because I'm also a Human Resource Officer within the Office of Human Resources. I started at the CMU in 2009 in the capacity of assistant to the director of Marine and Nautical Studies. And I had interface with students then because I was placing cadets on board, and I was also placing students for work experience. So I had a lot of connections. I don't think I know most of you because of COVID, the stretch of time that COVID has widened our gap, but you might have seen me around. Welcome. So I'm going to follow up on what Archie said. He spoke about not taking the opportunity to apply for a scholarship because he was thinking that, hey, he's not going to get through, and maybe he never had that confidence that with so many persons applying, why me? But why not? First, when we hear about scholarships, we think of free money. It's not free really. It's free to you, but it's not free to the persons who are sponsoring you. And so you are required to do what you must in order to maintain the scholarship. So I start off by saying every mickle make a muckle. Why? Because don't put your eggs in one basket. If you find a grant here, you apply. If you find a grant somewhere else, you also apply. So you want to every mickle make a muckle and one poker full basket. So the more scholarships you participate in, the better it is for you financially, for you to manage your tenure at the university. And I also go by saying, to whom much is given, much is expected. So you're given something, it is expected of you that you're going to deliver. So at the end of it, your donor, when they request transcript or report card, they must see that their money was worth the while. So you have to put in the work. You have to give TikTok a little break, and sometimes you have to take the studying at the forefront. We don't want it to be said that because I didn't know, I didn't apply. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And so that is why we're doing this. We want you to be aware of the various scholarships that are available. So what we are encouraging you to do, once you view the various scholarships, just hit the button running. Get your friends and other colleagues that you might have and see how you can maximize on the free money, as it were, out there. And that is what I want to encourage you guys to do at this time. I'm not going to deliberate much on that part. So I'm going to go into pitching the various scholarships that are available to you. So first of all, I have here on my page, the Caribbean Shipping Association scholarship. That is the Monica Silvera Scholarship. Is eligible to students, undergraduate students at CMU, preferably those who are in their final year. And the value of that is US $2,500. You will see the requirements. You have to be a Caribbean national from countries within the Shipping and Association membership. You must be accepted to the CMU. So if you're just coming, you must have an acceptance letter. Other than that, you would have to present your transcript for the year that you would have been at school before. Must be of good character, displaying leadership qualities and consistent involvement in community activities. So it can be that you participate perhaps a one-off situation and then you're saying, okay, I am, I am being involved. You want to be more involved so that when the time comes and you put in your application and they ask, are you socially involved? You must be able to have documentary proof also to say, yes, I am. So that scholarship, the application period is between May 1st and June 30th each year. And you can get that information from the office of the registrar, myself or the deputy registrar, Miss Keisha Walker. So you can get that information regarding the Caribbean Shipping Association scholarship. Then we have the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation. They have been a hot topic on our list because they have a number of scholarships available. We're just speaking about the Ferncan grant. Sorry about that. They have various scholarships. They have the Roland Mail Smith Scholarship. A number of scholarships are available with ACMF, and they are at different values. So some of them are grants, some are scholarships. And in speaking about that, I want you to note in your diary that on the 14th of March, they will have a scholarship or a jobs board webinar. I think your student student union rep will be organizing that. So on the 14th of March, they will be having that, and they'll have further discussions on the different scholarships that they have and also about their job boards. Because I know some of you might be graduating in short order or might have graduated too and maybe need a job. You can visit their website and you can get access to the various jobs that are available. So for the FERNCAN grant, it's for returning students who are registered in the undergraduate program. And the value is between $750 US and $1,000. It's for one academic year, and it covers related expenses, educational expenses, including boarding and auxiliary fees. But I must point out that at this time, CMU is not offering boarding. So at times, students might ask, well, the scholarship paid for boarding, am I going to get a refund? The Office of the Treasury will indicate that to you once you visit them. So again, the requirements for this grant is you have to be a Caribbean national, enrolled full-time or part-time at the CMU in an undergraduate degree program, and you must be maintaining a GPA of 2.8 prior to your application. So also, you have to have good character and display leadership qualities. Additionally, you'll be involved in extracurricular activities, and again, you want to provide documentary proof. The application deadline for this is April 19th, 2022. So you'd want to hasten your steps in striving to ensure that you meet the requirements and you submit your application in due time. Again, ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and so because you have the deadlines, you don't want to miss the deadlines and then you say, oh, just just give me a chance, please. No, ACMF is very strategic, they're very on point, they're very purposeful, and they deal with timing. So you want to ensure that whatever scholarships you're applying for, you do it in a timely manner. Early bird catches the most worm, so you want to ensure that you got it as quickly as you can. Then we have the Grace Kennedy Foundation Bursary. And then before I even start talking about that, it is sad that we have to be prodding students to apply for a scholarship offered by Grace. Grace is on the tip of everybody's tongue. We eat Grace, we sleep Grace. So it is for full-time final year logistics students. You want to take up that opportunity. It is a maximum of 150,000 and it covers only tuition. So that is a good step for those who are heading out of the university. Instead of having to use up all your funds, you want to ensure that you maximize on the scholarships as best as possible. Free money is out there, get it. So you must maintain an average of 3.0 GPA or above. And on the first day of May in the year of the application, you must not be over the age of 24. And as usual, you have to maintain good character because persons want to know that once they're sponsoring somebody of good standing. So you don't want to not be of good character. And that's why it's important for you to be careful of your steps via the internet and otherwise. You have to complete the application and submit it by July 15. The application period is May 1st through to July 15th. And you can get more information by visiting their website. It's noted there, or you can call their telephone numbers that are there. By the way, this information will be posted as the time goes by, or Ably, Director of Marketing and Communications, he will ensure that the information is disseminated among the students. We have also the New Fortress Energy Scholarship. Just recently, I sat on a panel and there were about 8 students and they were supposed to be selecting 5 of the 8. And because they were so impressed about the 8 students, they went on to accept all 8 instead of selecting 5. So that scholarship is also US 250,000. And it must be, you must be under the age of 25 years old. As usual, the attaining the GPA, it cannot be that you're getting scholarship and you're scoring at 2. So you must elevate the bar. If you're finding yourself not meeting it, take a breather and ensure that you was rigorous as possible in your studies so that you can attain these grades. Because oftentimes I realize that persons might opt out of applying because they are fearful that they might not meet the GPA. So the application should accompany the CMU application acceptance letter, one-page essay of your educational goals. And when they ask for a one-page essay, please put something that once they start reading, they have no option other than to select yours. You want to put something that will grab the attention of the person who is interviewing you for the scholarship. And you also have to accompany that with a high school transcript or a transcript from CMU, 2 character references, a certified birth certificate, or a registration certificate. Again, it is always necessary for you to maintain good character and display leadership qualities in order to really reach the goal of obtaining these scholarships. You should not be aware of any other scholarship covering tuition costs. So you can get scholarships covering book grants or anything else, but it must not cover tuition cost if you're applying for the New Fortress Energy. Once you're shortlisted, there will be a joint committee of CMU members and members from the NFE who will do the selection process. And that too is in the period of May 1st through to July 15 each year. Again, the information can be retrieved from the Office of the University Registrar at the CMU. Sagicor Foundation Scholarship, that's for undergraduate students at any year. So it doesn't matter the year that you come in. The value is 300,000, and you can note the different requirements. Again, 3.0 GPA, and you have to do some voluntary service annually, at least 20 hours. It is also important for you to note that you have to be a client of any of the Sagicor Group subsidiaries, such as Sagicor Life, Sagicor Bank, Sagicor Investment. There, you must submit a letter of acceptance to the program. Whatever program you would have selected at CMU, you must submit that upon the time of application. And if you're just coming in, you have to have your CXCs or CAPE, preferably Unit 1 and 2, or for CXC, well, it goes up to 3, 1, 2, up to 3. But again, they're going to look at the higher academic performance. You have to show strong leadership traits and have that volunteerism spirit. You have to also maintain your full-time status during the program. So it can't be that you started full-time and then you switch over to part-time. They're not going to maintain that scholarship. So you have to ensure that you maintain the scholarship as a full-time student. And the application period is it opens in June. All right, so we were at the Embassy of the People of Chinese Republic of China. That scholarship is for students who are undergraduate students, though preferably those in their last year. And it is valued at $1 million Jamaican, and that is shared among 5 selected candidates. So what happens is when the CMU shortlist 10 candidates, the embassy select from the 10, 5 recipients, and that is shared equally among the 5. So that's at a value of $250,000 each. And you must be a national from any country within the membership to the Caribbean. There is also the need for you to be of good character, display leadership qualities, and involvement in social activities. The information that regarding the scholarship, you can obtain that from the Office of the University Registrar as well. And the period, bear in mind, please, the period, it's from May 1st to June 30th each year. we're still having a little difficulty, but we'll wave our way through. We are looking at the Hanover Charities. That flyer was sent out on the student portal recently, or director sent it out so that students who reside in the parish of Hanover can apply to that scholarship. It's for undergraduate students, those who are in the parish of Hanover. And you must submit a 500-word essay explaining to them why you need the scholarship and how will it assist you in achieving your dreams and goals. So please make sure that it's something that is attention grabbing. Make sure when the person picks up the essay, it speaks to them and they have no option other than to shortlist you for the scholarship. You have to get a recommendation from either your teacher, principal, or JP. It must be submitted with an official transcript for the previous school year if you're a returning student, and a current report card. And again, I can't overemphasize the need for you to be of good standing, because again, persons are not going to want to spend money or to throw it away, as it were. They want to ensure that whomever they are sponsoring is of proper standing. The application deadline is April 15, and I bracketed no extension because that's how it is on their website. Fully, no extension. So ensure that you record the date so you're able to do so. And you can see the flyer that is below with all the information attached to it. That was circulated. You can go back on your student portal and view that so that you can be informed. Careers Limited have a number of scholarships. This one is for postgraduate scholarship. It's tenable at any recognized local university and can be applied to any field of study. So whichever field of study, it's not only for engineers or logisticians, but anything that you desire to pursue, then you can always try to apply for this. And the value is at 1.8. It's postgraduate, so those who have completed their degree would want to be thinking about further studies, you can opt over to this one. And you have to have an official transcript showing academic background and at least an upper second class honor degree. You must have a statement of purpose as to what you need the scholarship for, your resume, birth certificate, references, and evidence that you are accepted to pursue courses at the selected university. There also must be a statement of intention of candidate after the course completion. So you must state, what am I going to do after I've completed the course? That must be noted. The application period is April 15th through to May 31st, and that's each year. And again, you can get the information about the scholarships on their website. It's noted there. And once more, the scholarships will be distributed. Then we have a number of other scholarships from careers. I'm not going to go over this, but this is also a bursary, $50,000, and it's for returning undergraduate students. Must be maintaining a B average or 3.0 GPA, and again the period is the same, April 15th through to 31st. So I'm just going to scroll over the other two, because once you hit the careers website, then all the scholarships will be there and you can peruse them and select the one that is most applicable to you. What is happening?
Is your screen having a difficulty with your screen?
Yes, Archie, not seeing it. It's just it's blacked out.
Stop sharing and share again, please.
Are you seeing the screen?
Yes.
It's gone again. Stop share. Let me try again. It seems that there's an issue. Somebody keeps coming in as unmuted. One moment. Let me try again. All right, so VMBS also has scholarships. The Future Plan Head Start Scholarship, that's for first-year students. So those who are desirous of studying at the university, they will get the opportunity to apply for this scholarship. It's worth 130,000 and it's renewable over 3 years. And the requirement is that you must have an active savings account there. A letter of acceptance, recommendation from the candidate school certifying that the person is enrolled. And there also must be the 2 last reports from the 2 last reports, copy of 2 end of year reports. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because of the interference from the hacker. The application period for this is between March and July each year. And again, you can get the information on the website that is noted there. There is also another scholarship by VMBS, that's the Master Plan Head Start Scholarship as well, final year students, and that is worth 160,000. That's a one-time scholarship. So it's the same requirements as the first and the same application period, so you just need to select the one that is applicable to you. There's also another scholarship by VMBS where they are interested in sponsoring students who are pursuing studies in the area of science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. So that's the STEM scholarship. And that's valued at, sorry. Oops. Seems like something is going here. The STEM scholarship is valued at 300,000. It's also renewable. Again, the requirements is the same with the exception that you have to write an essay of 300 to 500 words on why you chose STEM. And you have to know the criteria. It's double space, letter size. So the application period for that is March to July each year. And again, the information is on their website. JMMB Joan Duncan Foundation Scholarship, final year student, except those who are pursuing engineering. There's not a figure, so it's undetermined. They will decide what they apportion when they're offering the scholarship. You must have at least a C average, not bad. I mean, the others were asking for B. So for those of us who might think that we can't reach that, at least we can maintain a C average. And there must be a letter of request for assistance, and you will have to include your email address, telephone number, and so on. It's a one-time disbursement, and it must apply annually. You must apply annually, so you can't think that it's not going to be continuous. Each year you have to apply. You need to have your most current school grades and exam results. So if you're just coming in, this is final year students, so you must have transcripts and grades that you would have gotten over for year 3. The application period is April 1st to May 31st. So as soon as that time comes, then you want to jump on it again, you apply online. The information is always going to be there at your fingertip. Betting, Gaming, and Lottery Commission, Archie spoke earlier that if you don't have a ticket, you won't have a chance. So this is an opportunity to get a ticket from them. First-year students and those who are returning. The value is $50,000. You never know. If you don't apply, you won't know if you have something in there to get. But you must not be older than 26 years at September when you're applying. And you have to confirm your attendance. So whether it's an acceptance letter or a transcript. Must have acquired acceptance for the semester beginning 2022. So that's for the next academic year. So you must have an enrollment for that semester or have an acceptance. There are 2 references that are required, and that must be submitted with the application in the reference section. It must be sealed and sent to them along with the application. And that application period is between May 1st to July 31st. The information is also there on their website. Jerry and Nephew Scholarship, this scholarship is for students who live within the surrounding areas, such as Spanish Town Road. You know, Real Nephew is on Spanish Town Road, New Yarmouth, where they have their other plant, and Appleton Estate in St. Elizabeth. So once you're living in the confines of those areas, then you can apply for this scholarship. The value is undetermined, but what you want to do is also to state your tuition fee. That would be nice in applying for the scholarship if they ask, if the application asks for that, or if not, if you're required to write, you can also state that in whatever you write. You have to show that you're financially challenged, and they have a shortlisting system where they shortlist and then they interview these candidates. You must be willing to volunteer. So as opposed to another company who asks for 20 hours, you have to maintain 72 hours within the community in which the plant is. So that would be in your own community because you will be residing there as well. You must be recommended for this scholarship by an academic advisor or a professor. And the application period is between April and July. So we don't want to wait until when it's crunch time, we start applying. What is as soon as possible, because sooner than later, you'll be sitting down studying for exams, and I'm sure you're going to want to put the exams in front of the scholarships because you want to pass nonetheless. So as soon as you're able, jump on it and go applying. The information is there on their website, and there is a number listed for application details if you so desire. Court is also offering scholarship, and that's for students who excel academically but on the basis of need and the relationship their parents or guardians have with Courts Jamaica. So I know many of us might go to courts and buy stuff, whether it's our parents or us individually. That's a good opportunity also to get something back from courts because you're spending. So you have value at 250,000. That's a one-off, one-time grant or scholarship, and you also have one for 400,000 for the duration of your study. You must be accepted, and if you're a new student, you must have proof that you have at least 5 CXC subjects and a minimum of 5 CAPE subjects. You must maintain a GPA of 3.0, can't overemphasize that, or a B+ average. And you must be pursuing a first degree. So if it's a diploma, don't even bother to touch this one. It must be a first degree. Application period is between May and June. And again, I'm going to encourage you to visit these websites so you can make do of those scholarships. We have Jamaica Flowerman Scholarship, just not very a stone throw away from us, but you must be residing in the Eastern Kingston community. So if you're not there, don't choose this one. The value is undetermined, but once you apply, then they will dictate what they will offer in terms of monetary funding. So, and you must be residing for a minimum of 5 years. And you have to be between the ages of 17 and 35 years old. So if you're not reached 17 as yet, well, you would be perhaps going into university, but you can't be over 35. 6 CXC subjects, including math and English, and at grade 1s and 2s. So, and also if you're offering the CAPE, I'm sure persons on this platform now perhaps would have passed this stage, and this is for perhaps new students just coming in. So if you have your relatives and they want scholarship, you can also tell them about this, or your friends. And if you're a university student, then you have to maintain a 3.0 GPA. And the application must be submitted with a passport size photo, certified copies of these certificates, or university transcript, and that must be submitted to the secretary there. Application period, there was none specified. So you have a window. You don't have a window, you can just apply. But the earlier, the better. At least when you apply earlier, they will see your application and move towards approving that than later. Jamalco, those who are living in the area of Clarendon can apply to this scholarship. Again, there is no value, but you must be maintaining high academic performance. You must inform them as to why you need that assistance. So you must have that need, and you must find a plausible reason to say, okay, this is the reason why I need to be helped, because I'm desperate. It can't be just a willy-nilly reason why they need to offer their money. That's money, it's free to you, but it costs them. So if you're a student reapplying for a scholarship, then you can also apply and submit your transcript. Again, it's between March and May each year. So the information is there. Those who reside in Clarendon, free to apply to Jamalco's scholarship. We have the Police Federation, members of the Island Special Constabulary Force. There are some persons who might apply to the Center of Counterterrorism to do their degree, and so they will be eligible to apply for this. Undetermined value, they will decide. If you're a first-year student, you must have been accepted to the university, and the university, as we know, CMU is approved by UCJ. And you also have to ensure that you provide a breakdown of the fee structure so that they will know what they want to give. If you're a returning student, you must provide a status letter from the approved tertiary institution, progress report, transcript, and again, a breakdown of the fees. This application period is open, so you can apply whenever you choose to, and the information is there. We have the West Kingston power plant. They are catering for students who reside within their communities. So we have that, the plant is on Marcus Garvey Drive. So within that area, the West Kingston area, once you reside there, then you are able to apply for this scholarship. It's $250, $50,000, sorry, and it covers tuition and any other related expenses. So, and that also, you must be living there for at least 5 years. Must be 21 years or younger upon entry to the institution. Students are also required to participate in at least 3 community outreach projects. So you want to check out those projects throughout the year so that you ensure that you're participating. So when the time comes for renewal, then you will be on that list because they realize that you have been reaching out in their projects. Part-time student must demonstrate exceptional circumstances that have prevented him or her from enrolling full-time. So it must be some extenuating circumstances why you weren't able to maintain that full-time status. The scholarship is provided for academic excellence and or financial need. So the application period, none was specified, so you have the opportunity to apply at your women fancy, as they say it. There is details further on their website, and that will also be shared with you, so no need to worry about getting it now. We have the Jamaica Energy Partners. Full-time or part-time students can benefit from this scholarship, and you have to be in the parish of St. Catherine where it operates. So if you're not residing in St. Catherine, I wouldn't advise it, but if you want to try it, nothing beats a try but a failure. So you can go ahead as well. Must live in St. Catherine for a minimum of 5 years. And the same thing, 21 years or younger, you must be willing to participate in their outreach program. It's one of the partners, so it's a subsidiary. They're very familiar. NCB. This is for students who are pursuing non-traditional fields of study, including but not limited to engineering and logistics. So for the cadets too, they can apply because seafaring is not very traditional. So they would get a better feel at it. There's no value there. Again, high academic performance, and you must be accepted to the university. So if you don't have an acceptance letter showing and it's your first time, then you need to have that. You have to maintain a full-time student status, and you must demonstrate that I need the money. And this scholarship can be applied for, as a matter of fact, it closes on May 31st. So you have to ensure that you get the applications in, and it says that the applicant must first create an account before applying for the scholarship. So it is important for us to ensure that we read what is required so that we don't get frustrated in the middle of applying, because that happens at times. You're perhaps in the middle, you're reach at a certain point and then you realize that, hey, there's something that you didn't know. So it is important that you ensure that you have enough information, garner the necessary information that you need in order to complete the application process. There is Jamaica Private Power Company for students, again, that are within the community surrounding its plant in Western Kingston. And you must be maintaining, you must be living for 5 years, 21 years of age or younger, maintain a full-time enrollment, and you have to have that financial need. You can get the information on their website. First Heritage has a scholarship there for students entering second to final year. So if you're a first year student, if you're coming into the university for the first time, maybe you won't be able to benefit from this. It really depends, but it is really targeting those who are second to final year. The value is undetermined, so it could be a possibility that you are offered a grant, or for the entire period that you'll be studying, you'll get the tuition cost covered. You must be a member of, or the child of a member of the credit union. So if you're a member or you're a child of a member, then you can apply. And you must have some volunteerism spirit, because you'll be expected to do some volunteer work. And again, they are asking for 3 outreach projects as well. The application must accompany references, and it must be submitted to verify applicants' involvement in the projects. The applicant must not be the recipient of any other scholarships or any current scholarships. So if you have various scholarships, the one cocoa food basket wouldn't be suitable for this, because once you have a current scholarship, then you wouldn't be able to benefit from this one. But you have to also submit a transcript in order to have it considered. No period specified for the application, but again, I'm going to always encourage as soon as possible. Get it out of the way so that you can see the money coming in before the end of this academic year. You have Sydney A. Phillips Scholarship Trust Fund, and it's for students who are residing in the parish of St. Mary and would have attended school in St. Mary at the CXE level. So if you were at St. Mary High School, then you can apply, and it's valued at $200,000. You must have good academic standing, and you must have been accepted to the university and at least complete a minimum of 1 academic year. So that means you can't be just entering and apply. You must have completed a minimum of 1 academic year, and you must be actively involved in your community or in other school activities. There are a lot of clubs around, so just get yourself involved, and you can always do volunteer work anywhere once you inform. The application closes June of each year, so you have up until June to do that. The information is there. Collect the application form, and then you submit it submit the hard copy to a specific place. Then you have Jamaica Social Investment Fund with scholarship, students attending government-assisted institutions. So for CMU, government assists us to an extent. So you can also apply. The maximum value of this scholarship is $350,000. And you must be between the ages of 17 and 25. You must be also a resident of one of the PRP communities. And then you can always note whether or not you are a resident by visiting the website and ensuring that you look at where the communities are and if you fall under that. You must not be in arrears for your previous academic year. So you would have had to clear everything leading up to the application of the scholarship. Must be in good academic standing and involved in volunteer work. This application closes in July. So you have all the information at your fingertip. You can apply, and the office is at Oxford Road. Their website is listed there as well. You have the Smile Foundation, and this is a bursary that a joint bursary, Jamaican and Canadian and Jamaican bursary. It was founded in 2011 for single mothers, as it says, SMILE, Single Mothers Inspiring Leadership in Education. And it was registered as a non-profit organization that helps low-income single mothers to improve their lives through education. So at times we have students who perhaps would have had to defer a year or a semester because of, you know, getting pregnant for those females. And so this foundation helps students like those to better themselves by providing a maximum of Canadian $1,000. So it has to be low-income single mothers in Jamaica and Canada, and they must be pursuing post-secondary education, which we know that you all are. And information, you can access that on their website as well. So information and overflow of information, it is a lot, guys, but you have to take the time to sift through so that you will be able to benefit at the end of the day. There are a number of scholarships that the Ministry of Education offers. We have this one here that is the, one moment, sorry. That covers, that's for full-time engineering students. We are just going to approach the ministry to open up this scholarship for all the engineering programs, because at this point, I think it's only for about 2 of the programs that they're sponsoring. And this covers tuition, miscellaneous fee for the duration of the program, or an annual book grant of $30,000. You must be a Jamaican and accepted to CMU, because we're talking about CMU now. A first-year student would have to have 5 CXCs, including math and English. Students with CAPE Unit 1 and 2 will be given the advantage. And returning students, second year only, must maintain a GPA of 3.0, and you can't be older than 35. The application period is April 1st to June 30th. And again, we have a lot of interaction with the Ministry of Education. A lot of our students are sponsored by the Ministry of Education. And I'm sure at the end of this presentation, you'll hear from one of them that would have benefited from such scholarship. We're going to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. They have a scholarship there. It's actually bursaries, and this is for the PATH beneficiaries, or for those who are attending an accredited tertiary institution. So you must be benefiting from PATH currently, and this is valued at 100,000, and it's also renewable. So you have to have a letter of acceptance from the institution where you're expected to study. So CMU, you will have to have that. Maintain a GPA, it's not bad, it's at 2.5, so it's attainable, and it's for 2nd to 4th year of study. The application closes on October 31st. So this one gives you a wider window. So for those of us perhaps who might be going and work and travel and come back, at least you have a little window that you can apply. And the information is always on their website. Again, Ministry of Education, educational grant. This is for full-time tertiary students. Maximum of $299,000, almost $300,000. And the returning student must have a minimum of 2.2. And I'm sure a number of students would be applying for this, because you know it's on the safer side where they're able to maintain that GPA of 2.2, and the ministry is willing to extend themselves. As a matter of fact, I think it's just today that they were asking also for transcript and report of those students who they would have offered bursary and grants to, because they want to ensure that you're performing at your optimal before they go ahead and renew any scholarship. So you want to ensure that you get your grades in so that it can be renewable for you as the time goes by. The application period for this grant is April 1st to June 30th each year. And again, information is available, not short on information. Another JAMVAT, this is very familiar to a lot of you. It's for full-time, first-time undergraduate students who qualify for admission but are financially challenged. So again, you must ensure that you state the need financially. and the tuition must not exceed 350,000. So if your tuition is above that, the value is 30% of the tuition, but it must not exceed 350,000. You must be a Jamaican, first-time undergraduate student who is willing to serve, and you have to be between the ages of 18 and 35 on or before December 31st. If for instance, you're doing it this year, it must be before December 31st. And you must be unemployed. We know that CMU is approved by UCJ, so that is a green light for you already. The application period is April 1st to May 31st. So you have the information to apply as soon as you're able. This is the, sorry, oops. This is the Marcus Garvey Scholarship that was recently launched by the government of Jamaica, and it is for public sector graduates that are within the public, that work in the public sector, that want to pursue, or undergraduates that are looking to pursue graduate studies. So if you want to do a master's, for instance, then you can apply to this scholarship, and the information is there. It opened on February 21st, and it will close on the 31st of March. So you want to jump on these scholarships, guys, and do not waste the time. Just strive to get the free money, as was indicated by Archie earlier. And he shared his experience as to why he thought that, why he was very hesitant in moving forward to apply for scholarships. But when he did, it worked out good for him. So I'm going to encourage you, one and all, to ensure that you reach out for these scholarships so that you can have a stress-free, financial-free tenure at the university. And this is where I will close my presentation. And I'm going to leave you with education is the transmission of civilization. So that is what I'll leave you with this evening. And before I take question and answers, I'm going to ask Mr. Gordon to reach out to our scholarship recipient. I have Kishana Bell. She received Mst Vet Scholarship. Would want to hear from her what her experience is and how she managed the process in applying for the scholarship that she has received. Archie, can you indicate to Kishana for me?
Sure, no problem. Kishana?
I'm here. I don't know what is seen. I'm here.
We're seeing, oh, we're hearing now. Go ahead, Kishana. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yes.
And hearing me?
Both seeing and hearing you.
Awesome. So, good evening, everyone. I want to especially greet our Deputy Registrar, Ms. Walker, our scholarship coordinator, Ms. Wilson, my co-presenter, our co-scholarship recipient, Mr. White, and our moderator, Mr. Garden. You know, good evening, everyone. All right, so to just give everyone the entire process as to how I became a recipient for the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mst Vet Scholarship. Yeah. All right. So before I applied, I was a bit hesitant, you know, but then I realized that I met the GPA requirement, right, which is over 3.0, right? And for the last 3 years, I was on SLB, you know, like every, you know, we can't afford tuition, so I want to graduate, I want to be a university graduate. I still applied for SLB, and, you know, I was on it for the last 3 years. So going into my fourth year, I met the GPA requirement, and I said, all right, cool. I'm going to put down the different scholarships that are available and the ones that I really wanted, right? So the Mst Vet Scholarship was, of course, one of them. The Do Scholarship was one of them. The Jamaica Scholarship was one of them. right? I think I applied for the ministry scholarship first, then the others after. Right, waiting. So also, when I was applying for the Mst Vet, they said that the only wanted second and third year. So I said, should I really apply? Should I really apply? But again, nothing beats a try. So I got all the required documents and I sent in my application. Waited for the entire summer really to get a response. And then I think later in early August, I got an email saying that, I have an interview. The interview day came now, and I realized that I had 2 important appointments on that day, and that includes the interview. So I said, all right, let's see how this is going to work. So I almost missed it. I almost missed the interview, almost. So anyways, reached the interview now, and all the candidates were there in the Zoom meeting, waiting to go into the breakout room to be interviewed. So I was there for a while, going over in my mind, Kishana, don't doubt yourself, you can do this, just start, tell them why you need it, and just be yourself. So I'm there coaching myself through the entire process, and my name called, went into the breakout room, and they asked me a few questions, and I answered well, because when you go into an interview, you need to be as transparent and as, I don't want to say relaxed, but you just want to be as calm, though it is hard at times. You just need to be calm. Because at the end of the day, they just want to know that, yeah, she's a candidate, they see your need, you participate in all of these clubs and societies and schools. So they just want to get to know you, right? So just relax. So in the interview, answered all the questions, and then I left, and I think it was like a month after, or the day before school started, I received the email that said, hey, you are a scholarship recipient for the Mst Vet Scholarship. And I was on my bed enough, and God see me, the job come and say, hey, yo, not you doubting yourself. Not you doubting yourself. And look, so at times we doubt ourselves, like we dig a hole, and we throw ourselves before anybody else throws us in there, right? And when I got the email saying that I received the scholarship, yes, I was happy. I was elated. But then I remember, like, earlier in the summer, when I missed the New Fortress scholarship deadline, and I was not successful in the Jamaica scholarship. I'm gonna tell you why for the Jamaica scholarship. Ms. Wilson stated like the list of requirements for the Jamaica scholarship, and for those who are in Clarendon, when it says students in the operating areas in Clarendon, they need it. So when I went to the scholarship coordinator at Jamaica, I asked them why. They said that was my main reason, because I met everything else. And I said, oh, so that's a key thing to look out for, right? So I was disappointed in those 2 unsuccessful, scholarships that I applied for, right? And then when I got the email saying that, Mst Vet, which means that it's covering your entire tuition, you're getting miscellaneous fee, you're getting a book grant, and you're getting a maintenance grant, a full scholarship, which means that the other 2 that I applied for, they were just covering part of my tuition. So you get this. So at times you realize that we never get something, but it's actually preparing you for something greater in the end, right? So leaving you with a few points. Oh my, did I introduce myself? So I am Kishana Bell, everyone. I am currently the president of 2 clubs, which is the Jamaica Institution of Engineers Student Chapter and the Robotics IEEE Student Chapter, as well as I am the VP of the Blue Ocean Voices. Also, I'm the president of the tutorial section of the Faculty of Engineering department, right? I was also in the academic year 2020 to 2021, I was a student representative for the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Technology. So yes, so you heard my story, you know who I am. So now I'm just going to leave you with a few points. I never want this to be very long, right? So a few points. So when you apply for scholarships, ensure that once you meet the GPA requirements, like once you realize that you meet it, just apply for everything that caters to what you need. A few scholarships that have bounding, so you need to realize, you need to understand what bounding means. A few of the areas, they're only for specific areas. So yes, apply what caters to you. Secondly, ensure that, yes, you know, GPA for us as engineers, for us, including myself, it's a rough program. It's a rough program, but once you realize that they meet the GPA, and even if you don't meet it right away, just work at it, work towards it, because the rewards that come once you meet that GPA requirement is mind-blowing. Yes, lastly, never tell yourself no before you hear no, right? A friend of mine told me this, and even if you hear no, you still have to go at it. You still have to work at it, because at the end of the day, nothing, literally nothing beats a try. So let's say you're not successful in the scholarship. You try again. You work on what you feel as though you need to work on. So if it is, again, your GPA, if it is that you need to work on being involved, just go at it. Go at every opportunity that you see available within your reach. And even if you feel like you're not gonna get it, still go at it. So that's it for me. If anybody have any questions, you know, I'm here. Over to you, Mr. Garden.
Thank you, Kishana. Daniel, you're here. I'm just gonna ask you to open your camera, turn on your camera so that we can, and unmute so we can identify you and put you up so that folks can see you. Daniel is Grace Candidate, is the Grace Candidate Scholar. Thank you, Daniel. And these are two of our interns, our former marketing interns, or people who have worked with us, Kishana as well as Daniel. Daniel, go for it.
Good evening, Archie. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. I want to acknowledge the presence of our Deputy Registrar, Mrs. Walker Brown, and Scholarship Coordinator, Ms. Wilson, Mr. Archie as well. I greet everyone this evening. Now, it's a pleasure to share my experience as a scholar with the platform tonight. As said, my name is Daniel White. I'm presently a transshipment officer for CMA CGM, who is the principal owner of the Kingston Freeport Terminal. I am a 2021 CMU Logistics and Supply Chain Management graduate. Also, I am a scholarship recipient for the Grace Kennedy Foundation Scholarship in 2020 to 2021. Statutory Foundation Scholarship recipient 2020 to 2021. I am a Chinese Ambassador Scholarship 2018 to 2019. Ministry of Education Scholarship recipient 2019 to 2020. And in 2017, I was a recipient of the JAMVAT 30% grant. Now, I would have listed out about 5 of the scholarships that I would have attained during my tenure at CMU. And, you know, surprisingly, while I'm listening to the different presentation and just reflecting on the journey, I can remember on my journey, I used to ask God the question, why not just get one scholarship and just get it one time and just maintain it over the period or over the tenure at CMU. But I guess that wasn't excited, you know. So I end up with 5 scholarships over my tenure. And I said excitement because through being a scholarship recipient it has allowed me to maintain a level of focusness and a level of and a clear vision as to what I need to do to get where I need to go, right? So, and that's one of the major benefits of being a scholar or a scholarship recipient. It gives you focus and it gives you a drive because you have a GPA to maintain. And just a fun fact, they asked for a 3.0 GPA, and in my 4 years at CMU, I've never gotten lower than a 3.5 GPA over my 4 years, right? And of course, listening to the presentation by Ms. Wilson, she stressed on being involved and how important this is for persons applying for scholarship. I'm a testament to that. During my tenure at CMU, I served on the student union. I was a CMU student ambassador. As Archibald said, I worked closely along with the marketing department over my tenure. I was on the student union, Rotary president, and all of this. And all of this just put me in a position to create a slight edge when applying. So the application process is always important. I have a number of things that I want to share in a few seconds. One, it's a step-by-step process, right? So rather than thinking about, oh, I have to do the application process, am I going to be interviewed, will I get accepted? Just let the main thing be the main thing. You want a scholarship, and it's important for you to do what it takes to get there, right? So it's a process. It's not a 1 day or a 2 day thing. It's a process, right? Because first you have to apply for the scholarship. After application process, of course, you have to exercise faith to do an interview. You have to do the interview and you have to do your best because only your best is good enough. After the interview process, you have to wait for selection and to be informed whether or not you are successful, and then you have the scholarship to maintain, right? So it's a process. My experience, I'm going to tell you about the Grace Kennedy Foundation Scholarship and the Sagicor Foundation Scholarship. Both scholarships came in 2020 to 2021, and this was in the midst of the pandemic. So you can imagine work and travel canceled. There is little or no movement, no jobs whatsoever to get that financial boost that I needed to complete my studies at CMU. So I was at home, I was thinking about all the possibilities around finishing the degree and what it meant to me and my family. And then I decided that, look, scholarships has always been an avenue for help. So why not just, instead of doing one application, why not just get some application done? And then it bring me back to math. So probability. So if you are averaging 2 out of 5, there's an opportunity. There is always, so if it's 2 to 5, there's so probability. So if you apply for 2 scholarships out of 100, there is a 2-time probability that you will get 1. If you apply for 80 out of 100, there's 80% probability that you will get 1. So with that in mind, I did my research and I researched all the possible scholarships that I could apply for. And then I looked on the different companies, I looked at what they are offering in terms of scholarship, and then I aligned myself with the scholarships that I think that can make a difference in my life. So I kind of go through a selection process where I assess each scholarship, assess the company, and look on their requirements, look at what they need, look at, because it's a two-way relationship. They invest in me, and then there must be something that I need to do. Right? So I did the assessment, and I decided, I did the math in my head, and I said if I apply for Grace Kennedy and Sagicor, then it will be able to cover the entire tuition. So I did the application for those 2, and then I said, you know what, I need some buffer. So I did other applications. One of the major things that I want to point out when doing the applications for scholarship is to be true to yourself and be true to who you are. So the interview process and the application process, it's similar, right? So you can't say one thing in the application, but another thing in the interview, right? So you have to be true. And the only way to prevent any form of discrepancy is to be truthful, right? Because, if you tell one lie, I go tell another one, and the chain goes on. So I did the application process, and I applied for all the scholarship. I submitted all the documents that was necessary, and I wrote truthfully, and I wrote from the heart. Both interviews came up, and it's the same thing. I did both interviews truthfully and from the heart, right? One of my major struggles when I started out at CMU and wanting the financial help and doing applications for scholarship was to basically say it as it is. Some of the times your personal experience, the challenges that you face, sometimes you have to share that information for others to understand that while you have the drive and the thirst to complete your studies, you are struggling in the financial area and you need assistance. So being true to oneself, it comes in when you are writing the application process. So you need to state why you, out of the millions of applicants that is applying for these scholarships, why you should be chosen. And of course, it's based on your story. So all you are doing, you are being honest and you are telling your story based on your own experience, and then you are sharing the motivating factors behind your studies, right? So some of the things that motivated me as an individual to complete my Bachelor of Science in Logistics is the fact that I'm from a farming community, and people just farm and go to the nearest market and sell. And I think that if I do this logistics degree, then I would be able to help them to export their produce. And I talk about that in my writings and in the interview. I'm from a humble background. Grew with my grandmother, from the age of 4 months old, thanks to her. And we in the country and support. I write the story. This is it. I'm from a humble background, and I said humble and not poor because scholarships is not only for those that is poor, but it's for those that is in need. So if you can express your need for it, then go ahead. You will be successful, of course. So I express the need. I express my need. I express why I think I deserve a scholarship. Did the applications and went to the interview, and it's the same thing, just telling the story, right? And sometimes doing the scholarship interview, it can be an emotional venture because when you are talking about your experience and your struggles and the things that is affecting you or preventing you from getting there, it can be emotional. But rest assured, it's also important to state your true feelings when you are applying for these scholarships. Another advantage of being a scholarship recipient is the fact that it creates job opportunities. Now, the Grace Kennedy Foundation scholarship that I am a recipient of and that was spoken of earlier is one such. So Grace Kennedy is not only a public company that is into the whole stock thing, or is not only the home since 1972 or whatever it is. It's one of the major logistics companies in Jamaica. When I finished it, I just finished my degree, but one of the first place I applied for a job when I finished was Grace Kennedy. And of course, I was called, I did the interview just before the Christmas break. The interview was successful. I got the job offer. But at the same time, I was doing a lot of applications. I sit down and do 20 applications for the day and just go back tomorrow and do another 20 like I didn't do any yesterday. So because the applications was done in such high volume, interviews came in high volumes as well. Now, Grace Kennedy as the foundation, I said, I'm going to work for Grace Kennedy because, I'm a scholarship recipient, and so forth. And I did the interview, got selected. But in the process of being selected and, doing everything, other opportunities was on the table. It placed me in a position where I had to assess between these jobs and see which one is more aligned to my long-term goals. Hence, I chose CMA CGM, but Grace Kennedy is dear to my heart. Once you become a part of this foundation, you give back through volunteerism. Grace Kennedy has the Haze for Grace Foundation, where we help students doing CXT with their studies and other faculties once you are competent to give back in that regard. A major part of being scholarship recipient outside of the fact that there's job opportunities is also the advantage of networking, and so it provide the opportunity for you to network and for you to meet people. So all 5 scholarships that I have received, I have met persons that are CEOs, persons that are managers, persons that are very influential in our society. And those opportunities and those networking opportunities come to being a scholarship recipient, right? So scholarship opportunities that CMU offers, they provide networking opportunities, job opportunities, and let me see. Okay. So one of the first objectives for me is not necessarily, I begin with the end in mind, but my objective is always to get to the interview, right? So when I'm doing the application letter, I'm not thinking about being selected. I'm not thinking about being the recipient of the scholarship. I'm just thinking about writing to get to the interview. And I encourage people to try that approach. So your objective is, oh yeah, I need a scholarship, but no, you need to get to that interview. Once you get to that interview, your new objective is to get to be shortlisted. And once you are informed that you are shortlisted, of course, sometimes a second interview is required. That's where you polish it up and you, of course, get it. And one question that is common on the 5 scholarship interview that I've gone to is the fact that the interviewers always says there are hundreds of students applying for this scholarship. Why should you as an individual be selected for whatever scholarship it is? That's food for thought, and that's something that you should think about. Why should I be chosen? Yes, you are special. Everybody is special, but what's so special about you? And for me, it's different from what it is for you. But at the end of the day, that's something that is very, very important. So also the motivative factors. What are the motivating factors behind you applying for the scholarship? So something must motivate you. Is it that you just want to complete your degree? Is it that you are struggling financially and you think that if you get help, you can be more focused? Whatsoever the motivated factors are, it's important to identify them even before you apply for these scholarships. Scholarships are not only for poor people, but it's for those that is in need, right? So once you have a need, demonstrate it through writing, go to the interview, demonstrate that need, and show support and show support. So yes, you are a student leader. Yes, you are doing well in academics, and you are balancing effectively. Now, also, one thing that is common whenever I go to scholarship interview, and I've gone to a few, you can imagine, the ratio of male to female is always more female applying for scholarships versus males. Why is that so? I'm not sure, but I want to share from my experience that scholarships is not only for the female, it's for all gender. There is no stereotyping when the selection panel is selecting scholarship recipient, right? So I want to make that clear to the young men that young men should apply for scholarships. In fact, because the ratio is so small, it's easier for somebody on the interview panel to remember a male versus a female. And I'm not bashing the females. I'm just saying that more young men need to apply for scholarships because the selection board and the selection panel, it is not based on gender. One more thing that I want to highlight as well. So I receiving this scholarship, and I want to make it clear, I have never gone to an interview because I knew somebody and they recommended me to go to the interview. Nobody at CMU, I don't know everybody, I don't know the persons that organize it. They didn't say, oh, they know me and put me over there. No, it's a seamless process. It is fair and it's done with integrity, right? So I want to make that clear as well, right? Because some people say, oh, you get scholarship because whatever the reason you would think it is. I want to let it be known that the process at CMU, I don't know about other universities, but it is transparent, and most of the time, CMU is just informed of persons that are granted these scholarships. So it's not based on merit. It's based on hard work, it's based on your need, and it's based on you demonstrating that need. It's not only okay. An important factor that I have discovered as well is that balance is key. So we must know the difference between extracurricular activities and academics, right? So some persons would major in their minor, which is extracurricular activities, and then do no schoolwork at all. No, that won't get you a scholarship. You need to have a balance between academics and extracurricular activities. So I want to make that clear as well. I spoke on the advantages of it. So read and understand the entity. It's also important to understand the entity. You must be confident, you must show boldness, and you must assess your goals continually and your objective, and you must align them to where exactly you want to go. And of course, circumstances don't make a man. It reveals it who you are. And that's a saying from James Allen, author of As a Man Thinketh. He says that circumstances don't make a man. It reveals him to who he is. So, and this is saying, it doesn't matter if you are from, upper class, lower class, very poor, rural area. It doesn't matter what the circumstances is. It doesn't make you who you are. It reveals you to the strength that you have. So my circumstances, it didn't make me to be me, but it revealed me that there's an inner strength that I could use to apply for these scholarships and, of course, speak the truth. And only the truth was good enough. And the truth, of course, helps to propel me to, where I am today. So that's it in a nutshell. Remember some key takeaways. Scholarship opportunities. It's not only for females, it's for males as well. There is no stereotyping in the selection and the selection board. There is transparency from CMU straight through the companies. There is straight transparency. The bonus question is also always, what should you get it versus everyone else? And there are several benefits of scholarships. And this is my final point. Being a scholarship recipient, it helps you to provide stability, knowing that your finance is taken care of as it relates to your tuition, your auxiliary fee. When you know that is taken care of, you are able to stay focused. You are able to put in the extra work. And I can remember when I just started CMU, because I was working before I started CMU. So I came into CMU without scholarship, without financial support or anything. I just work and save for 2 years, and then I use all that money in 2 years to pay for one semester. Right after, and that's the first semester in year one. I did extremely well. I applied for scholarships, and I applied for Jamaica at the time because I wasn't able to apply for scholarship, but because I was out of school for some time. I had to work, then come back. That's the story. I remember when I applied for the Jamaica grant the first year, I called them every day. I called them, and I could not get through. And I was this is February, and exam is May, and I owe Maritime 50% of year one tuition. I said, every day I get up, I call them, I not get nobody. I left school, I go down to Ministry of Education, them say the office move, and I relocate to somewhere else. I jump on a bus and go around there, so I go around there. So they must say, I have to come back one other day. I go again, I call, I go, until eventually, I got through because I was determined. And then that one opportunity where I was determined, but the essence is that because I was uncertain if I'm going to do those final exams while I'm studying, it's like I couldn't retain anything, and then I ended that semester with a 3.5 GPA, and that's just No, that was a 3.4. That's the only time I got 3.4 when I was unsure. And that was just a semester, not the accumulative. I got 3.4 because I was unsure if I'm going to sit those exams because of my financial stance with the university. But scholarships onward, it provides stability, knowing that my financial need was taken care of. I was able to do the work and not think about money, right? And not think about when CMU or anything of that nature. So benefits of scholarship, it provides stability, it eases financial constraint, and it drives your educational productivity. And that's it in a nutshell from me. If there's any question, of course, as Ms. Belande would said, we can answer them.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. I'd like to thank Daniel as well as Kishana. I mean, that was a mouthful, but that's a lot of really important information, I would say. In spite of the fact that Daniel took up a couple of the scholarships, there were still so many last year when we were in the Office of Marketing and Communication, calling students in the engineering program, begging them to apply for scholarships. We'd send them out to different people. And it's not the first year that we have been doing that in marketing and communication. So those opportunities are there, and they really are opportunities to be seized. So I really do want to thank not just Ms. Wilson, but Daniel as well as Kishana for sharing their own experiences today. Yeah, if you don't have a ticket in the game, you don't have a chance. So go out there and really apply for those scholarships because they are available. And for a lot of companies, they will not necessarily disappear because from the company perspective, this is something they can use, for instance, for a tax write-off and that kind of thing. So they want people to apply for them. The ACMF, for instance, the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation, we are under pressure. Ms. Wilson can tell you, Ms. Walker can tell you, when students are not applying for the scholarships, we in the CMU are under pressure to go out and find students to apply for them. And abroad, the team at the ACMF is going around holding banquets with members of the diaspora, with Jamaicans overseas and Caribbean representatives overseas, Caribbean nationals overseas to get this money. So it takes a lot of work to do it. So I would say, yeah, put aside the time and apply for it. And from that perspective and those few points, sorry, there's one thing Daniel said I'd like to comment on. Very often as well, and I was saying this to Ms. Wilson before we actually had this session, we come from a culture where people think I mustn't say me. The scholarship is an opportunity to say me. Do not underplay yourself. Think of it as applying against maybe 100 people. What is a kind of essay, while, as Daniel said, being authentic to yourself, that you're going to write, that somebody is going to take your scholarship letter out of the pile and put it aside and say, this one is someone that we have to shortlist. So that no is that's not a shy letter. Yeah, that's not a letter where you're not willing to claim or to be authentic or to share your need for the scholarship or even to share your story or your inspiration behind why you're applying. That has to be something where somebody reads it and they want to put it aside. So that's not a shy letter. So I know we come from a culture of let's not talk about ourselves. We're boasting if we're talking about ourselves, but that's not what this is. This really is the opportunity to talk about yourself. And Daniel also made another point that's important. When you're talking about jobs, job opportunities beyond school. It looks good to have a scholarship on your resume, but it's also going to provide you an opportunity to get into companies, to maybe meet with people at different levels of organizations, and all of those links and those networking opportunities can lead to job opportunities. All right, so we're going to open the floor for questions. Ask any question you want to ask. I know you can put it in the chat if you want. And Miss Wilson is here, Daniel is here, Kishana is here, Keisha Walker, the Deputy Registrar, is here as well. And we are, we're open to answering your questions. So please go ahead. Now's the time to speak up.
Hi, good night.
Hi, Chanel, go ahead.
So I have two questions. So a lot of these scholarships, one of the requirements are like you have to be in a club. But being that most of the classes or all of our classes have resorted to online platforms, you know, that we can't be a part of a club or it's difficult for us to participate in a club. So what do we do?
No, well, as far as I'm aware, the clubs are still, many of the clubs are still going ahead. Ms. Walker, can you help on this? Or Georgia?
Yes. So clubs, most donors, when they're looking at an application, even though you may be in the tertiary space, they usually ask for your affiliations or your clubs from high school. We understand that COVID may have put spanner in the works for most tertiary institutions, but as Mr. Gordon was indicating, some clubs are still continuing at CMU, so you can join some of those clubs. But most donors don't just look at the student from the perspective of the tertiary aspect. I know that ACMF and New Fortress are scholarship donors that look at you from the point of view of your secondary education as well. So if you were in clubs in high school, you can always indicate that on the application form.
Okay, thank you. My next question for the scholarships which mention logistics management faculty, can students on the CPFFI still apply being that it falls under it?
All right, so Ms. Wilson or Ms. Walker?
Which one of the scholarships?
I don't remember the exact name.
All right, so there are several scholarships that Miss Wilson would have spoken of that caters to all the disciplines at CMU, but there are some that are specific. There is the Mst Vet Scholarship, and if you look in the chat, you will see where I've been writing. It's one of the better scholarships, and it is open to engineering students. The university is at this moment petitioning the ministry to open it up because the scholarship is for the STEM programs, right? I know that right now they are targeting the industrial system students, but we have had students from the marine programs who have gotten the scholarship. They may not have been aware that these students are marine engineering students, but they did get the scholarship and they have been doing well. So we are saying to the ministry that we want you to open it up to all our engineering students. But be that as it may, the Ministry of Education has 2 other scholarships that are open to every discipline. And so is the others. So the one from the Grace Kennedy is targeting 3rd year logistics, yet every year that we literally have to be scrounging to find 3rd year logistics students to apply for the scholarship. And when we say logistics, we're not only saying logistics and supply chain management, we're saying international shipping, cruise shipping and marine tourism, port management. We're talking about all the logistics discipline, but there are several scholarships. The PowerPoint presentation, Ms. Wilson, will be made available to the students.
Surely, yes, Ms. Walker, will.
Right, so you can look at all the scholarships, but majority of the scholarships are open to whatever discipline you're doing at the CMU.
The scholarship information is also on the website, and we're not talking about the SRS website, but cmu.edu.jm. Scholarship information is also available there. If you're on our Instagram pages as well, you can have an idea of what some of the scholarship, what some of the scholarships are by looking at the posts on the page. We have those from previous years, we've been advertising them. So the CMU page, cmu.edu.jm, as well as the Instagram page. And we post them as they open as well on our Facebook page. And as Ms. Walker said, Ms. Wilson said, we'll be sharing the presentations as well. I'm seeing a question here from Kevon. Chanel McRae saying, where can we access this PowerPoint presentation? Chanel, Ms. Wilson will share it with me and I'll send it out to the student emails. I'm seeing can. I think this is how can attaining a scholarship assist in job procurement and networking.
I can go ahead and answer that one.
Sure, Daniel.
All right. So question. So how can the scholarship opportunity assist in job? And all right. So let me just talk on the Grace Kennedy one. So Grace Kennedy is the major logistics, one of the major logistics and supply chain management company in Jamaica, and their scholarship is for persons doing logistics, right? So whenever if you are successful in acquiring this scholarship, they would have already known that you are a logistics student, and you would have been interacting with the foundation, the CEO for the foundation. You would have been interacting with members of the Grace Kennedy executive team. So during these networking and interaction, of course, you will get an opportunity to express your desire in not only be a scholarship recipient, but being an employer for Grace Kennedy. So from networking comes up opportunities. You know, you apply, your name is already in the system because you're a scholarship recipient. Of course, you know, they invest in you. So of course, they would seek as a mutual relationship for you to give, not necessarily give back, because you will be compensated fairly and squarely though, but you get the gist of what I say. So that's all I'm speaking on the Grace Kennedy the scholarship, but all the other scholarships, once you become a scholarship recipient, you become a part of the foundation network, right? These persons in the foundation, in the different foundation network, they are company owners, they are successful business persons, and of course, knowing them, of course, you get an opportunity to apply and go through the employment process. So yes, scholarship does create networking opportunities, and that in itself create the job opportunities.
And Daniel, just to clarify, when you're talking about meeting these people, you may meet them in the interview, but there are also scholarship, there are also functions as well.
Yeah, so the interview, you might not be able to develop relationship during the interview, but once you become successful, you become a part of the whether WhatsApp group with other scholarship recipient, or the company will host function. For example, Sagicor, they host a Sigma, and you will go, you will give service, you know, and you will be like a part of the team. You give back, you do 20 voluntary hours. So in doing all these things, you know, you meet people over time, and of course, when introducing yourself, you are going to state that you're a prospective employee because you're presently pursuing your bachelor's in whatever the field of study is. And once you are pursuing your degree, your objective is to get a job outside of starting your own business.
Yeah, and remember, I mean, overall, just meeting people is very helpful from that perspective. So I am a Chevening scholar, and because I am a Chevening scholar, I meet other Chevening scholars. There's a Chevening alumni group. So if you're a part of the alumni association, you get opportunities to bid for grants. Last year or year before last, I think there was a grant out for about $100,000 for different Chevening scholars to collaborate on projects, and you meet other people. You know, the Chevening scholars, the journalist of the year now, Jovan Johnson, is a Chevening scholar. His face when he's journalist of the year is advertised on their platform because companies want to be associated with students who are doing really, really well. It makes them look good, and it helps as a part of their sort of corporate social responsibility. So you looking good helps them look good. So if you do well, then the opportunities for sharing, being invited to all kinds of different functions, luncheons, etc., being part of WhatsApp groups, networking, you know, there really just are a lot of opportunities out there. There's a hand up. This is Theo Gordon. Theo, go for it, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. All right, so I got in a little late. Basically almost in the middle of the presentation because I got in when Kishana almost finished her presentation. I am part of the postgraduate group, the Logistics Supply Chain Management, and I would like to know how do I go about applying for a scholarship for that group or within that group.
All right, so Theo, we had shared, I did the presentation where there are a number of postgraduate scholarships. And as was indicated earlier, what we're going to do is pass the information to Mr. Burton, and he will disseminate on the different social media platforms so that you're able to access the information. But there are a number of postgraduate scholarships that you can benefit from.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question here. Thanks. Yana Forrest says, seeing that we have multiple scholarships to apply for, when requesting transcripts and status letters, who do we address them to? And do we need multiple transcripts and letters?
Well, scholarship transcripts and letters are generally supposed to be directed to the scholarship organization. But you find now that a lot of the scholarship donors are accepting applications online, which means that if you apply for a transcript, you can apply for a to whom it may concern transcript that you can use multiple times, especially if you're sending them in electronically. So you just need to know if it is that you have to drop off a transcript or a letter, it has to be in the name of the donor. They do give you that information. But if it is that you are sending the information online, then you can apply for a to whom it may concern letter or transcript, and then you can scan it in and send it in to as much donors as you wish. Multiple scholarships will depend on the scholarships that you're applying for. The scholarships that are managed by the university, so the Chinese Ambassador Scholarship, the Caribbean Shipping Association Scholarship, the New Fortress Energy Scholarship, those are managed by CMU. So when you apply, you don't need to apply for a transcript. Because we manage those scholarships, we're the ones who get it to the stage of shortlisting. We, the university, prepares your transcript for that. So you don't need you don't need to pay for anything for that. All you need to do is to complete the application and submit all the other requirements. Anything regarding your grades, we will provide. You don't have to pay for those.
Thanks, Ms. Walker. And bear in mind, don't wait until the last minute, because it takes a while to produce the transcripts. So don't wait until the day before the deadline, or 2 days or 3 days, and then be running around saying you need a transcript, because it takes time to actually prepare those letters. So give yourself enough time. Perhaps one of the strategies you can do is what Daniel said, which is just to do them in batches, or you print your scholarship letter and you go through it, piece by piece. There's a feedback form in the chat. We're asking that you complete that, because this is one of several CMU Success editions that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing one at networking. We'll have some really successful CMU graduates coming as well to share their story about how you can improve your digital footprint, how you need to be careful about the things that you put online, what can you do in terms of going out there and getting jobs, what has actually worked. And we're also going to be doing one on finances as well as some other issues. And there's an opportunity in that feedback form to give us your feedback about this one so we can know how to improve it, and as well to tell us what is the kind of information that you can use so that we can provide it. There's someone here in the chat saying, if I am in my final year, why is it that if I have not completed my third year payment, I won't be able to get a scholarship for my final year, or I won't be able to apply for a scholarship when I need?
I'm not understanding that question.
I think the question is, if you're in need, why are they being barred from applying for scholarships?
Well, no one is ever barred from applying for scholarships. Majority of the scholarships that Ms. Wilson presented are external to the university. So you need to apply directly through that donor. The thing is, if it is that you're owing money to the university, when that money does come in, it is applied to your balance first. So as much as you believe that you're applying for your final year, if it is that you have a balance on your account, the monies that you get will be applicable, it will be applied to your balance. And let me say this, most donors will ask if you're in arrears. You have some donors like ACMF who volunteered last year to help students who are in arrears, to try and help them clear so that they could do exams. Not a lot of donors are like that. If it is that you're in arrears, then know that when they give you that money, it is going to be applied to your balance. And that is not the intent. The intent is for you to get an award for the academic year in question. All right, so it is not that you cannot apply for scholarship, but you would have to find a scholarship that is willing to help you to clear what you owe and then give you another scholarship. And I think that for this person who asked the question, it may be prudent for you to get in touch with the Ministry of Education, because I know that they're trying to help students who are having financial challenges. So before you go out and apply for scholarships wholesale, visit the Ministry of Education and see if they can help you with your outstanding balance first.
I thank you. And yes, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. Rashid Willis is asking if there's one place we can find all of the scholarships. Ms. Wilson will be sharing it and we'll be sharing it with you. But you can also find that information on the CMU website. That's www.cmu.edu.jm. And that information is also on Instagram, but on our Instagram posts, as in the posts on the main page, not just in the Instagram stories themselves. And on the Facebook page, you can also find past posts that have information about scholarships. Remember, at the same time, that some of these places have units that may provide information, and you may actually also visit those units. So I think the Ministry of Education is one of those places that has a unit where you can go and get information about scholarships all over the world. I think the British Council also has a unit. You have to call British High Commission, you have to call and book an appointment, and you go into a room and they give you package after package of information, and you can find out information about scholarships, not just locally, but overseas. Any other questions? If you have a question, I'm inviting you right now just to unmute and to ask your question. In the absence of that, we'll start wrapping up.
Okay, so good evening, good night.
Hey, good evening. Go for it.
Okay, so what if your balance has been cleared, but there has been a remainder, as in like you're seeing a negative or a minus sign in front of the balance? What does that mean?
That sounds like you're in credit. That's what you mean?
Well, I don't think so.
All right, that sounds like you specifically need to speak to somebody from the accounting. So I would say email accounts@cmu.edu.jm, but ideally go and visit the office itself.
All right, but usually when you see like a minus sign in front of your money, it means that you are in credit, as Archie said. It means that you have more money in your account than you have been invoiced for. So it's money that you can use, money that can be applicable to your current term. It is when you don't see the negative that you know that you owe us.
Yeah, once you see the negative, it means we owe you money, or we have money for you.
Okay, that's exactly what I interpreted. So that can be transferred to the next academic year. No, that normally happens?
It normally does if you're a current student. It normally applies. So what happens is that if they apply it, so once you pre-register and you're in the clear, they're going to invoice you. So when they invoice you, whatever money is there will be taken out of the money that you owe for this term, and the balance will show. So if it is that you have not been invoiced for this semester and you're seeing a negative now, it means that once you're invoiced, that will become, you will not see the negative anymore. It means that you would need to clear, you'd need to pay money for this semester.
Are you following?
Yes, I'm following, but I think I'm clear.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you. Again, we're asking you to please complete the feedback form that's in the chat. In the absence of that, we're going to be closing now. I'm just going to ask for maybe a sentence from each of the people who presented today, Ms. Wilson, Kishana, and Danielle, and then we'll close.
Well, my sentence is, it's a pleasure to having served you this evening. And I must be grateful to Archie for moderating and ensuring that things run smoothly despite the glitches earlier.
Yes, our hackers. Kishana?
Hello again. Good night. Good night. I want to leave you guys with, it always works out when you, even when you think as though all of this is not working out to you, but eventually it works out in the end. So don't forget, and nothing beats a try. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on my different social media platforms at Kishana Bell. So yes.
Thank you, Kishana. And Daniel?
Okay, my closing remarks is that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So I just want to encourage everyone to get started, whether it is to apply for a scholarship or to continue on your path to a better education. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So get started now.
Ms. Walker, you can tell us your sentence. Ms. Walker has a sentence in the chat. But I want to hear her say it.
Apply, apply, apply. There are a lot of scholarships out there. And if it is that you meet upon a roadblock, do not. I had students last year who told me that the reason why they didn't apply for the ministry scholarship was because they didn't want to be teachers. Please, if you believe that there's a myth to your scholarship, please come and ask questions. If you're in doubt, ask questions. The emails are there, so just contact us.
Yes, and on that, I'll endorse that and say apply, apply, apply. I have not paid for school yet, and I like it. So I encourage you, if there are some opportunities from university yet, scholarship on the undergraduate level, scholarship at the postgraduate level, and there are opportunities out there. We're begging you, we're calling you, both the registry and the marketing department, we're calling students and encouraging them to apply. There are 35 people in this webinar, and there are 100 scholarships available just for this, for the program that Kishana was on. And Ms. Wilson spoke for 1 hour, listing one whole heap of scholarships. So go out there and apply. Daniel, 5? Yeah, so go out there and apply. Please use it up. All right, so thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll keep you posted about the next edition of the CMU Success Series. As I said, we're going to be doing one, we're going to be talking about your digital footprint. We're going to be linking with some of those really successful CMU graduates, Matthew Sinclair, maybe Najee, maybe Danny Royale, who can, you know, share information about about how they did really, really, really well. And
actually, there's another question in the chat.
One more?
Yeah, are you a part of the evaluation for the MST? Yes, Kevon. So there's a representative from the CMU that sits on the panel.
Okay.
Yes, so we sit on the panel, my love. So once they have shortlisted,
yes, miss, I met you.
There are representatives on the panel. So Kishana would have known me because I was on her panel for review. So there are representatives from the university that sits on the Mst Vet Scholarship once they have shortlisted their applicants. So I am begging you, I'm imploring you, my engineers. I mean, had you all gone for that 100 scholarship, I mean, we wouldn't have any problems today. I mean, that scholarship would have paid for everything. The only thing you'd have to do is pay bus fare and eat food, because everything else would be covered. So I'm imploring you, apply. Nothing beats a trial but a failure.
Nothing at all. And if you fail, try it again. Just apply for another one. So Shantana, yes, this will be placed on our YouTube challenge. Thank you all for showing up this evening. Thanks to the representatives of the registry, Deputy Registrar, Ms. Keisha Walker, Scholarship Coordinator, Ms. Georgia Wilson, as well as the Mst Vet Scholar Kishana Bell and Daniel White, Grace Kennedy, and many other scholarships. Thank all of you for showing up this evening, especially those of you who asked questions, but all of you overall. And well, there's one more question. Tihi says, well, this is not a scholarship related. Will school be open face-to-face for all students come September? We can't answer that question. I don't think that decision has been made right at this moment. But when it is made, we'll let you know. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Archie.